What's up? I'm Bernard. Welcome to Built Different AI. Every week, me and Jayden break down how to actually use AI to build income, not just talk about it. New episodes dropping weekly. Let's get it.
Where do we go now? Hyphen B. Where do we go now? Nothing is sacred. Where do we go now? The world is faded. I begin from the start with the hand of my heart. Where do we go now? I'm not afraid of the dark. Sacrificing my own time.
How you doing, everybody? Welcome to episode 6 of Built Different AI. As you can see, it's a little bit different today. Probably a little bit noisy with my particular water cooler. But I wanted to kind of change the settings today, kind of inform you on some things that's been occurring. And it's again, like you can see that the show is a little bit different today. It might be a little shorter, but we're still going to continue to progress. Like they said, the show must go on. As you can see, there's a big difference, because I'm doing it solo. Um, I had a little situation with Jayden with it. It's going to be okay. Life, sometimes life, and we have to, endure some things. But looking forward to seeing him next week to see what the things we'll be able to offer as far as what his journey has been with AI. So built different six, the show must go on. So again, I just want to thank everybody who's been subscribing to Built Different AI, the people that's been sharing our videos. We're looking for more comments. Continue to subscribe, continue to share our videos, continue to like. We definitely will be looking for like suggestions for future shows to see, the things that kind of interest you with AI. Um, but yeah, I mean, we just thank you for all the support that you've been giving us. So, um, one of the topics that I'm going to talk about today is Claude AI. I guess it was like some type of AI was able to kind of go into regular internet and kind of hack certain things. And I mean, that's the things that people are really afraid of AI with the possibilities of what it can actually do. And as an individual, I'm not naive to the fact of what technology can be done with the hands of people that's kind of using it for that. And so that's one of the things I'm not going to get on the show and kind of talk about, be so naive and blind to the fact of the dangers that AI can pose on society. And, we talked about the data centers last week and how there's a lot of big commotion that's going on as far as the power usage and the energy and the environment and things of that nature. So I'm never going to be naive to the fact of the pros and cons to AI. And this is another thing that concerns people. But I try to be balanced in everything that I do in my life. So if I see an article, I'm definitely going to read it and kind of get my own take on it, try to give my own opinion, but not be too much swayed as far as um, whatever somebody else's opinion is going to say. Because I can say personally, for me at this point, right, AI has been doing some magnificent things for me as far as creativity, um, just opening up my mind to a lot of new ideas and just being able to just kind of see things and kind of talk things out. Um, people may have friends to do that, and I think I got friends as well. But like, it's just certain information that AI has definitely been providing for me. As you can see, like with the shorts, that I've been doing, you're gonna see more of those coming on. Like the graphics, like many people that probably already know how to do those things, but that's something that it's not anything in my background. So like, I think like that's like a wonderful thing to do, and it's very inspirational. AI is the one that kind of gave me the idea to kind of start the podcast because I you probably could have did like a quick internet search and search certain things that you could have did like a step by step guide. But like the internet, the AI, I mean, just reduced all that time to a point where it made me more efficient in the things that I'm capable of doing. And to get a hold of some type of technology like that, like it has to be a game changer for your life. So, but I know a lot of people just, it's going to be a negative connotation on AI. I mean, I understand that, but I'm going to promote it for a positivity for the people that are using it. Just had a conversation with a group of people yesterday, and then again, they was just telling the things about the negative side about AI, and it always have to be some type of pushback, which I don't mind. I don't mind hearing people's fears about why they don't trust AI. I don't mind hearing that at all because there's some things that should be addressed, right? There's some things that should be a concern, and if a person that's in one of these, in charge of one of these companies, are hearing, what the people are saying, then actually some things can be done about it to continue to put guardrails and safety on as much as you possibly can. But we live in a real world. There's nothing to sugarcoat this thing. We live in a real world, and anything that is done or created can be used for good and evil, and that's just the bottom line. Like anything that can be used good for good and evil. I'm not going to use this episode to sit up here and try to be preacher, things like that. But sometimes I do come across that way. But you know, religion can be used as something that's good or evil. Like I mean, we're not naive to the fact of what goes on. Law enforcement, laws, judges, courtrooms. Food. Like it's a lot of things that can literally transform people's lives or it can save their lives. So I just think of money. Money is another thing, right? I just think of AI as a tool. I'm just going to continue to think of it as a tool. There's a lot of people that have great ideas that are not able to kind of get those things out, and with a tool such as artificial intelligence actually kind of aiding and kind of assisting you in how to direct your thoughts and how to even conduct yourself with other humans. Because there's a lot of people that are introverts that don't know how to express themselves. It's a lot of people that got a lot of things that are going on in their minds and they don't know how to verbalize it or quantify things that they actually done. So you use an assistant can be able to bring those things out. It serves a good purpose for you in your life. And that's the point that I think about AI. I think about all the positivity things that it's actually doing in people's lives. Like I said, I never had any thoughts of hosting a podcast. I never had any thoughts of doing that, but I see immediately what AI has done for me. And not only I'm on Claude, kind of thanks to Jayden, and I'm almost leaking over to like he's there, but thanks to Jayden, like I'm expanding a whole bunch of things, so I'm on Gemini, I'm on Chat GPT, I'm just have them dialoguing with one another. I use them, for advice, like I'll have them talking and dialoguing with one another about certain topics that help and shape some things I'm trying to get accomplished. And to have access to that, a lot of people may be busy with their lives, or some people, you have to charge. They charge and rightfully so. Like, don't get me wrong, because like you're an expert or you have some type of expertise and you built that on decades of decades and stuff like that. Maybe you shouldn't be easily accessible to people, right? But they have their lives, and if you need some type of information, they may not be available to you. So to be have something that really at a click of a button that you can press and just really start expressing ideas and trying to get an understanding, I think it's a wonderful thing. And one of the things that's just like miraculous to me is like I feel like we're still early in, you know, and like I'm not naive to the fact of what the negative things can be with AI. It's almost like you watch on the news and you see like some type of tragic event happen like 1,000 miles away, right? And if nobody is that is like immediately affected by that, it probably not even going to be a concern of you at all. Like you're not even going to like think anything of it. But then imagine if you were in that event, right? like it changes everything. Or if you know somebody or a loved one that you're close to was actually in that place in that event, it changes the whole perspective of everything. So I get it about perspective. Like at this point, like nothing negative too much has happened to me with AI, right? But if it was something to breach something of mine and like, oh man, AI this, but I would try to learn from that as well. Like I don't want nothing negative happening to me or anybody that's using it. And anybody who created, I hope that that's not their philosophy that they want something negative to happen. But we've always lived in a society where technology has evolved, and the people that get in early on it normally are the one that benefit from it. So I don't see any other way to kind of explain the AI revolution as far as it's technology that a lot of people that should be using it are probably not using it. And that is the whole point of Built Different AI as far as a docu-series, to just perk your interest, to see if there's an idea that maybe has been stuck in your head for years, just for a reminisce moment. Back in San Francisco, me and a group of my friends, we decided, become a rap group, and nothing really came of that, but we had fun. But one of the things I recognized, like I can write, like I love, like I can sit down and write. I can write rhymes, So, but I'm not trying to say that I am a rapper or anything of that. But like when I discovered, or when I didn't discover, when somebody introduced me to, an AI generator rap, app, like it's been like so miraculous what it's been doing, because now I'm able to get my thoughts across, and I'm not verbally, it's a voice AI voice generated, but those are my lyrics. But AI is helping me structure songs. It's taking my beats. If I'm hearing sounds, and I want to know what that sound is, I'll give it to AI, and it'll prompt me to how I want a particular instrumental to sound. And it's kind of guiding me on that. And like I'm listening to these songs. I'm like, wow, like I can't believe like that's happening. So I mean, I've been able to produce. Um, well, I publicly produced 9 songs, but I have a whole bunch of songs that I haven't even released yet, and I'm releasing them like every Friday. Now, I kind of, excuse me, I kind of promote some of my music that comes out on Friday, so you can check it out. On Facebook or TikTok or Instagram, um, the Apple Music, Spotify. Go and support it and then check it out and let me know what you think. I go under the moniker of hyphen B. Now I am finding out that there is another hyphen B out there, which is a surprise to me. But I'm trying to get my songs off of that channel to be specifically on a channel on YouTube, so people would kind of listen to the songs that I'm actually producing and making. So, but those songs are on YouTube. As you can, the hyphen B ones, like the AI generated. It's another hyphen B, and I think a lot of his songs are Spanish. You know, and just like to give you a background of that name, hyphen B. Well, again, just going back to my teenage years, um, we had a group. It started off as WCP, West Coast Posse. Yeah, and then we came up with a group called the Arsonist, and again, those are really good times, right, for me, because just verbally to just be able to kind of express how I was feeling, with raps and stuff like that. It was just like a beautiful thing for a 13-year-old, a 14-year-old. We definitely got getting very creative with the things that we were doing, and like I guess a nickname that kind of stuck with me from San Francisco is an old classmate called me Beetle, like I think it was like the animal, the insect beetle, but then I kind of flipped it to Bedo, and like the way that I would like write it down was like B hyphen DOUGH. So I used to rap that in my raps all the time, just like Snoop Dogg, like like a lot of rappers are like will rap their names or insert their names into a rap. And so then one of my raps, I did hyphen B hyphen, just because I want to emphasize the B, right? Like it's just like 'cause Bernard, my first name, and that kind of just stuck. So like a lot of times, when I go back to the Bay Area, my friends would joke, hyphen be hyphen, and it just kind of stuck, and that's kind of good. Like it could be years, down the line that you haven't seen people in a while, but like you did something that was kind of impactful. Like maybe it was a joke or whatever it is, but it stuck, right? And it's stuck, and that's how I feel about going back to like these songs now. Like I'm able to start expressing it again. I'm not going to talk about the work that I actually do, but I deal with a lot of things, right? So it's a lot of things that's going on in my head because I believe in the power of manifesting. I believe in the power of overcoming. I believe that, regardless of the life that you live or the background that you come from, that if you want something, you can go get it. Because, a lot of times uh, society kind of, you know, becomes a reflection in our mind, and what we see is what we begin to like reproduce, and I'm just doing everything within my power to change that type of mindset with anybody that I'm it's in my vicinity. I just want people to go out there and get it. I'm not a hater. I want people to win. People may be offended by how I'm moving, but I can't help that, right? I can't help how I'm feeling inside about how I want other people to kind of thrive in life and be there to root them on and be a cheerleader, you know, and to be able to expand that. That's why I'm grateful, like for technology like AI, because it opens up some ideas. It opens up the world to me, to people that maybe in my vicinity where I'm at, but it's a greater, a larger crowd. It's just some things I've always talked about. Like I'm always looking for my tribe, because there's some people out there that has always felt like they were the quote unquote black sheep of the family, not in a negative way, but like we just didn't think like everybody else. We just wasn't like everybody else, and it showed. And we tried to do our best to kind of blend in and fit in with people, but we didn't think the same. We didn't say our mindset, the wavelengths. We just wasn't on the same wavelength. So like this opportunity to open up a podcast, like yeah, is it nervous? Yeah, it's like you out there in the public, right? There's some things I never would even consider that I doing to put my name out there, but I just get so inspired. Like I look at a Callum Smith. I think his name was Johnson. I'm sorry if I'm butchering name. I apologize for that. But it was another podcast. I can't remember, the Diary of a CEO. I think that's what it is. And I saw a post on the Instagram, and he just showed like 4,000 something days ago. This is what he was doing, and look at what he's doing now. And I was like, man, like that's really what it is. Like I look at my life, I'm a gray beard. It's like, man, I'm a late bloomer, and I accept that. A lot of things I got as an older age. But what AI is doing is just it's accelerating, my thought process. It's accelerating the things I'm trying to produce. It's just accelerating all that, and I want it to be documented. Even like right now, like I'm doing a show solo. Like that's how much important it is for me to keep this thing going. That's how much important it is for me to show proof of what AI can actually do. I want the people to see in real life, like, man, like they started a show in June. Tomorrow, literally, it's going to be August. That's why I got to get the show out tonight, because I want to be consistent. I want to be able to show the journey of seeing people transform their lives. Like, again, I'm telling you, like, I'm just calling it right now. I don't want to be the same, and not negative, right? I don't want it to be the same come June 2027. I know.
If this episode sparked some new ideas for you, smash that subscribe button so you don't miss the next one. Drop a comment below with your thoughts on how artificial intelligence is changing your world. Let's keep this conversation going. Built different AI.
Information does to people that's actually utilizing it and not using AI just as a Google search engine, but actually finding out information and documenting things is actually transforming their lives. and I believe that that's what it's going to be doing for me. And I want people to join me on that journey, and I want people to chime in. What was your experience with AI? What was the negativity that was being thrown at you when you were trying to go out there and experiment with it? What was the mistakes that it made? Like I said, I know a lot of mistakes that I made with it. Like I wasn't proofreading everything that my documents, stuff like that. It was mispronouncing names and mispronouncing names, or putting things in there that I didn't ask to put in there. Like, nah, that's not what I want. That's not what I asked. I put this, I put that. I'm asking for a particular suggestion. What do you think? And you added things in there that I didn't ask you to do, right? So it's like I'm training the AI to do that. But it has helped me with like presentations. I'm not turning no work. I'm not a college student anymore. But like the data that it can provide for you is like it's amazing to be able to just utilize the particular technology and be able to just bring things together, formalize it, and construct it to a point where you're being more impactful and you're not just rambling on with words. And that's like one of my whole point is to try to be impactful with everything that I do. You just heard my the water cooler just go off, so hopefully that wasn't too noisy. And you kind of hear me what I'm saying right now. But just going back to like the negativity about as far as what AI has done. Yeah, now that you don't want your information to be leaked. You don't. A lot of people got debit cards. I remember the first time where my debit card got hacked. Like, and I'm grateful at the time it wasn't enough money in it. But I'm like, whoa, like, how did that happen? Like, how did they get access to my information like that? Like, they really could have got. Nobody saw that. Like, I'm here and that transaction took place in Timbuktu somewhere. But it occurred. And it's just something like it's a learned experience. And like so this right now, like you get alerts on your phone right now from emails, like scamming is always occurring. I mean, I used to do DoorDash, like drive for DoorDash, and I got scammed on DoorDash. Like that was crazy how that occurred. Like everything seemed so real because I didn't know, right? So it is just a thing about learning about AI and kind of just using the guardrails. So like I'm open up for some things right now because I have the Robinhood Agentic account. And I'm going to show the numbers on that. Like I said, I've been having a real busy week this week. So like my AI usage has like really been a little low. It's really been a little low, but I have still been on it. Trust me. I have still been on it, accident some things and stuff like that for my workout. I had to make some adjustments on my Robinhood Agentic to make sure that the money is continuing to go in. I believe probably just gonna put a screenshot, later in the show or right now. I'm talking right now. I'm just thinking about it, but for the second straight week, $75 went into QYLD. Um, so and it's following my prompt, so it's not going rogue like what occurred within Anthropic and Claude. It's not going rogue at all. So every time it's still coming up to when I ask what's going on with the account, it still makes me um, ask my permission to go prompt by prompt by prompt by prompt. So I always ask me, always ask, always ask, always ask. Let's double check, fact check to make sure that you're still honoring my initial prompt about being an income generator and how we're going to look at the RSI and the Bollinger Bands and see which particular stock is kind of not meeting the metrics in order to kind of put more money in there. So and that's for me to even talk like that. It's just amazing because, like, again, a year ago, I didn't have no idea what I was talking about, Bollinger Bands and RSIs, but I'm being educated, and I'm having AI teach that, as well as other YouTubes, So it's like a lot of people I want to like shout out to. I think is Edwina with AI. Like I watched a lot of her videos, and she is really, really, really good. I think another one is Alice Little. I don't want to mess her name up, but I joined one of their conferences, and like, man, she's awesome. Like she's doing some amazing work. It's just really people out there that are like doing really, really good things as far as explaining how you can utilize, AI for your benefit to kind of change your life. And we got me working on some special projects that some of those things I cannot share, but the things I am going to share, like I'm always going to kind of be open to what I'm trying to do. I have a company with another brother of mine, called Triple I, which is information is information, and we go around teaching financial literacy. So to and I know it's a lot of financial literacy people that's out there, but like our heart is really into helping young people kind of understand that. We're not claiming to be experts again. For the disclaimer, which is 23 minutes into the show, I'm not an expert. I'm not a financial expert. You don't have to follow me. A lot of these things are just for me, and for what I'm talking about is for like personal entertainment and for educational purposes. But we just want to show individuals as far as the beauty of investing young and kind of understanding what money is about. Well, AI is just providing a lot of accurate information that's true, so and the things that I'm actually utilizing in my life, so I'm very grateful for those things. But other than that, we're going to continue to document our journey. We're going to continue to just promote artificial intelligence, the positive things into it. We're just going to ask, all of our fellow viewers that's been viewing our shows, we appreciate it. We are very grateful and we are thankful for what you are doing. You guys are at the beginning journey. So, we're never going to forget the people that started, that rocked with us at the beginning, friends and families and the newcomers as well. Like I said, I'm looking for that built different AI tribe. I'm looking for like-minded people that's trying to be on that journey. Whether you young or whether you are old head, you see the gray beard. Um, whether you are older, like we really want to be able to kind of document this journey together. So again, continue to subscribe, continue to share our content, continue to view, continue to comment. We want you to increase the comments, because we want to know what you think. Now, just don't share and come through and just watch and don't say anything. Like, we want to thank you for supporting us. So we want to know who you are. So I challenge you to make some comments if you think that there's something that a question you want to ask that you want us to research and look at. Let us know in the comment section. But we just thank you for that. And looking forward to seeing you guys next week with my co-host Jayden and Bernard Jackson, bro. Signing off. Build different AI, baby.